You want chaos? You want truth wrapped in a smile? Fine, let's paint it red. Ladies and gentlemen, while you scroll, while you laugh at memes, while you argue in comment sections like gladiators in a digital coliseum, someone is watching, not with evil eyes, not with hatred, but with curiosity. And that someone is Elon Musk. Oh, you thought you were using technology. No, technology is using you. Every click, every pause, every late night search when you couldn't sleep, every risky dream you typed into a search bar at 2017 a.m. You think you're the consumer. He's studying patterns, behavior, ambition, fear, because in a world run by data, human behavior is the real gold. You're not just a user. You're not just a number. You are a signal. And maybe, just maybe, you're part of something bigger. What if the man building rockets isn't just trying to reach Mars? What if he's trying to understand the human mind before humanity reaches its next evolution? See, the joke isn't on you. The joke is that you volunteered. Tonight, we're going to tear off the mask. We're going to talk about power, psychology, ambition, and why the future isn't being built for the lazy. It's being built for the observed. So sit tight, smile wide, because whether you like it or not, you're already part of the experiment. They think it's about rockets, about electric cars, about satellites blinking in the night sky. But that's just the fireworks. The real show happens in silence. In data centers humming like mechanical hearts, in algorithms learning your habits better than your closest friends. Elon Musk doesn't just build machines, he studies behavior. Every platform connected to his ecosystem becomes a living laboratory. Every reaction, every pause before clicking, every surge of excitement over a bold announcement, it's all information. Human behavior is predictable, beautifully predictable. We chase novelty. We reward confidence. We follow vision wrapped in controversy. When a product launches, people don't just buy features. They buy identity. They buy belonging. They buy the feeling of standing on the edge of tomorrow. And someone who understands that doesn't need to force influence. Influence happens naturally. Patterns emerge. Trends form. Communities defend. Critics amplify. The noise itself becomes fuel. Data is not just numbers. It's emotion translated into measurable signals. When millions respond to a single tweet, that response isn't random. It reveals what excites society, what scares it, what divides it. The timing of reactions, the language people use, the speed of engagement, all of it maps the psychological landscape of a generation. You think you're expressing an opinion. In reality, you're contributing to a behavioral blueprint. Understanding behavior means understanding leverage. If you know what people fear, you know how to inspire urgency. If you know what they admire, you know how to craft aspiration. If you know what frustrates them, you know exactly where to position disruption. Innovation stops being guesswork and starts becoming calculated momentum. Products are no longer just tools. They become extensions of identity. The genius isn't in watching individuals. It's in recognizing collective rhythm. Society moves in waves: excitement, skepticism, adoption, obsession. Those waves can be anticipated. They can even be shaped. A bold statement here. A strategic silence there. A dramatic reveal timed perfectly with public curiosity. Behavior becomes both compass and engine. And here's the twist: people willingly provide the data. They share their routines, their locations, their dreams. They argue publicly. They praise publicly. They criticize publicly. All of it feeds the system. Not because they're controlled, but because participation feels empowering. The modern world runs on engagement, and engagement exposes psychology in its rawest form. When you understand behavior deeply enough, you stop reacting to the future. You start designing it. You don't chase trends, you anticipate them. You don't follow markets, You read the emotional undercurrent that creates markets. Technology becomes less about hardware and more about human nature. The real innovation isn't metal and code. It's insight, and insight, once mastered, turns chaos into strategy. You wake up and reach for your phone before your eyes are fully open. Not because you need it, but because it needs you. The screen lights up, and in that soft glow, the silent exchange begins. You scroll, you pause, you react. You think you're just passing time. But time isn't the currency anymore. Attention is. Technology doesn't blink. It doesn't sleep. It doesn't forget. It records patterns so subtle you wouldn't even notice them yourself. The speed at which you scroll past bad news. The extra 3 seconds you spend staring at something controversial. The way your thumb hesitates over a comment before you delete it. These are not accidents. They are signals. You believe your devices respond to you. In truth, they anticipate you. Predictive systems study behavior across millions, comparing your habits to others who think like you, click like you, desire like you. It's not personal. It's mathematical. And that's what makes it powerful. You're not being watched by a person in a dark room. You're being observed by patterns refined over billions of interactions. Every notification is engineered. Every feed is curated. Every recommendation whispers, "This is what you like." But the deeper question is, did you always like it, or did repetition teach you to? Algorithms learn what triggers emotion because emotion keeps you engaged. Anger spreads faster than logic. Excitement spreads faster than caution. Fear spreads faster than reassurance. The system adapts accordingly, and the strangest part, you agreed to it. Terms and conditions scrolled past in seconds. Permissions granted without thought. Location shared. Microphone access approved. Camera enabled. It feels harmless because everyone does it. Normalized surveillance doesn't feel like surveillance at all. It feels convenient. Convenience is the perfect disguise. Your map knows where you're going before you finish typing. Your music app predicts your mood. Your shopping suggestions appear before you realize you need something. It feels helpful. It feels efficient. But behind that efficiency is observation. Constant, structured, evolving observation. Technology studies not just what you do, but when you do it. Late, night searches reveal different truths than midday browsing. Weekend behavior differs from weekday routines. Your digital life forms a psychological fingerprint, detailed, dynamic, revealing, and you keep adding to it every single day. The modern world runs on behavioral feedback loops. You engage. The system adjusts. You engage more. It learns faster. What holds your focus gets amplified. What doesn't fades away. Over time, your reality subtly reshapes itself around what captures your attention most strongly. You may not feel watched because there's no single watcher. There's only infrastructure, silent, scalable, intelligent. It doesn't judge you. It doesn't hate you. It simply measures you. And measurement, repeated enough times, becomes understanding. Understanding becomes influence, and influence, when scaled globally, becomes power. Every swipe feels small. Every click feels insignificant. A like here, a share there, a comment tossed into the endless stream of opinions. It feels personal, temporary, disposable. But multiplied by millions, those tiny actions become direction. They become momentum. They become the invisible steering wheel of the future. You don't just consume the internet. You train it. Every time you engage with something, you tell the system, more of this, and it listens. Not emotionally, not morally, strategically. It adjusts what it shows you next. Then it adjusts what it shows others who behave like you. Slowly, subtly, your preferences stop being isolated. They become trends. Trends shape markets. Markets shape innovation. Innovation shapes the world you wake up to tomorrow. When millions obsess over speed, companies build faster platforms. When attention gravitates toward controversy, media amplifies conflict. When people reward bold vision, entrepreneurs become louder, more dramatic, more extreme. Your engagement isn't passive. It's instructional. It tells creators what works. It tells businesses what sells. It tells leaders what moves crowds. You think you're reacting to the future. In reality, your reactions are helping design it. Look at how quickly ideas spread now. A single viral moment can redirect entire industries. A surge of interest can push investment into new technologies overnight. Public excitement can inflate value. Public doubt can collapse it. Digital behavior has become economic power. Emotional waves turn into financial tides. The system studies what captures you because capture equals influence. If people pause longer on innovation stories than celebrity gossip, innovation will dominate headlines. If outrage holds attention longer than nuance, outrage will be manufactured. The future isn't built purely on logic or need. It's built on what holds human focus the longest. And here's the twist: most people don't realize they're voting every day. Not at a ballot box, but with attention. Attention is approval. Time is endorsement. Silence is disinterest. The collective pattern of billions of micro decisions forms a blueprint for what comes next. When you binge certain content, algorithms prioritize that genre. When you support certain creators, their voice grows louder. When you reward specific narratives, those narratives multiply. Digital ecosystems don't grow randomly. They evolve toward whatever is most engaged with. Even innovation in technology responds to this loop. Developers track usage patterns obsessively. What features are ignored? What tools are addictive? What design keeps users inside the system longer? Feedback isn't always spoken. It's behavioral, and behavior rarely lies. Your digital presence becomes a ripple in a massive ocean of data. Alone, it seems powerless. Together, it becomes force. Corporations study those ripples to anticipate demand. Investors study them to anticipate growth. Leaders study them to anticipate sentiment. The future doesn't arrive out of nowhere. It forms gradually, shaped by collective preference, amplified by systems built to measure it. Every scroll, every hesitation, every enthusiastic reaction feeds into that shaping process. You are not just witnessing the evolution of the world. Through your online actions, you are quietly participating in its design. Innovation looks like genius from the outside, a breakthrough product, a revolutionary platform, a machine that feels like it arrived from the future. But behind every sudden innovation lies observation, long, calculated study of human patterns. Because technology doesn't succeed just because it works. It succeeds because it fits the way people think, feel, and behave. Psychological patterns are the real blueprint. Humans crave simplicity. They resist complexity unless the reward feels extraordinary. They are drawn to status, to belonging, to narratives that make them feel part of something larger than themselves. Any innovation that ignores these truths struggles. Any innovation that aligns with them accelerates. People say great inventors see what others can't. In reality, they see what others won't admit. They recognize that most people don't buy products for logic alone. They buy for emotion first, logic second. A device isn't just faster. It makes you feel ahead. A platform isn't just efficient. It makes you feel heard. A bold idea isn't just practical. It makes you feel part of a revolution. Patterns repeat across generations. Curiosity drives adoption. Fear slows it. Social proof removes hesitation. When early adopters celebrate something loudly enough, skeptics begin to reconsider. Momentum builds not because the technology changes overnight, but because perception does. Perception is psychological, and perception determines speed of acceptance. Even design itself is psychology in motion. Clean interfaces reduce mental friction. Instant feedback creates satisfaction. Scarcity increases desire. Limited releases trigger urgency. These aren't accidents. They're calculated responses to how the human brain reacts to stimuli. Innovation becomes less about hardware and more about understanding dopamine, trust, anticipation, and reward. The most powerful innovations often solve emotional frustrations rather than technical ones. They remove embarrassment. They eliminate waiting. They reduce uncertainty. They simplify choices. Every frustration solved builds loyalty. Every seamless experience strengthens habit. And habit is where influence solidifies. Data accelerates this process. Patterns reveal what confuses users, what excites them, what keeps them engaged. If people hesitate at a certain step, that friction gets redesigned. If a feature sparks enthusiasm, it gets amplified. Iteration becomes psychological refinement. Each update aligns closer with instinctive human behavior. There's also the element of identity. People adopt innovations that reflect who they want to be. Visionary, efficient, bold, environmentally conscious, technologically advanced. When a product aligns with aspiration, it spreads faster. Innovation, then, becomes storytelling fused with engineering. Resistance is also predictable. Humans fear losing control. They distrust what they don't understand. But familiarity reduces fear. Exposure builds comfort. Over time, what once seemed radical becomes normal. What once felt risky becomes essential. This transition is not random. It follows the rhythm of collective psychology. True innovation anticipates these rhythms. It doesn't fight human nature, it works with it. It studies hesitation and designs reassurance. It studies excitement and designs amplification. It studies boredom and designs stimulation. Technology may be built with code and circuits, but its success is written in the language of the human mind. The one who observes doesn't rush. The one who observes doesn't panic. While everyone else reacts emotionally, instantly. Loudly, the observer watches quietly, collecting patterns, and patterns reveal weaknesses long before they become visible to the crowd. Most people move through life impulsively. They follow trends after they explode. They invest after hype peaks. They speak after emotions boil over. But the observer studies the build-up, the subtle signals, the early adopters, the shifting tone in conversations, the hesitation before commitment. Where others see noise, the observer sees data forming a picture. Being ahead isn't about speed. It's about perspective. When you understand how people behave under pressure, you can anticipate their next move. When you know what excites them, you can predict what they'll chase next. When you recognize what scares them, you can forecast when they'll retreat. Observation turns chaos into a map. Crowds are powerful, but predictable. Excitement spreads fast, but so does fear. Public opinion swings like a pendulum, extreme to extreme. The observer doesn't get trapped in those swings. They step back and measure them. They ask, why now? Instead of simply reacting. That question alone creates distance, and distance creates clarity. Clarity is leverage. If you know when people are overconfident, you prepare for correction. If you know when they're discouraged, you prepare for opportunity. Markets move this way. Culture moves this way. Even technology adoption follows emotional cycles: optimism, doubt, acceptance, dependency. The observer studies the cycle instead of drowning in it. Silence is a tool. While others broadcast every thought, the observer gathers insight. Listening reveals more than speaking ever could. Online discussions, public reactions, consumer habits. All of it exposes patterns of desire and insecurity. When people argue passionately, they reveal what they value. When they defend something fiercely, they reveal identity. When they abandon something quickly, they reveal shallow commitment. The observer also studies timing. Not just what people do, but when they do it. Timing reveals urgency. Urgency reveals pressure. Pressure reveals vulnerability. And vulnerability creates openings. Being ahead doesn't require controlling others. It requires understanding them deeply enough to anticipate movement. There's also restraint. Reacting feels powerful in the moment, but restraint creates strategic advantage. When you don't reveal your full intention, you maintain unpredictability. When you don't respond instantly, you disrupt expectations. The observer chooses moments carefully. That choice alone separates reaction from strategy. Information flows constantly in the modern world. Most drown in it. The observer filters it. They look for consistency across events. They search for underlying motives beneath surface drama. They track long-term behavior instead of short-term noise. Over time, this discipline compounds, because once you understand the rhythm of people, their habits, their emotional triggers, their cycles of excitement and fear, you stop being surprised. You stop being manipulated by sudden shifts. You begin to anticipate them. And anticipation is the quiet advantage that keeps the observer permanently ahead